Now, KLBK's first warning weather with meteorologist Jack Maney.
We've had some low-end rain chances for the last several days, and that really panned out for some folks yesterday, especially on the western sides of Lubbock. Take a look at this video from near the South Plains Mall. Flooding rainfall occurred in a very localized section of Lubbock yesterday during the afternoon hours, right about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Had that downpour come down, and some street flooding definitely happened out there. This is close to Slide Road and Loop 289. That was really the localization of that was what was really cool about that to me, because west sides of town saw this, east sides of town basically had nothing, and we didn't. This completely missed all of our official rain gauges. Only 0.03 of an inch reported here in town. Let's take a look at those rainfall totals across the region. You can see that 300th reading this is for the last 4 days of rainfall totals, and really you can just see how hit and miss these rainfall totals were. We did wind up with a full 1.2 inches down in Snyder. That mostly fell on Monday, and also 56 hundredths of an inch yesterday in Plains. That was our big winner as far as rainfall, but most of the rain has been out to the west in central parts of New Mexico, and that really, I can't really even be mad about that, because they definitely need the rain just as much as we do here. Unfortunately, it looks like we are going to have to be staying dry for the next few days, and drought improvement really not going to be all that significant from the rainfall we've had the last several days. Nice sunrise coming up with a few clouds hanging out, but none of these are expected to develop into precipitation, and we should stay dry for this afternoon. 65 degrees, east winds at 5 miles per hour, and just generally comfortable temperatures outside this morning. You will definitely want to take your coffee out on the porch as you wake up this morning with those low to middle 60s in place. And looking at this afternoon, we are going to be staying mostly dry. There will still be the potential for a couple of isolated thunderstorms well to our south. That'll be more for the Midland, Odessa area. And if we win the lottery, 1 or 2 of those might try to come up into southern or southwestern portions of the viewing area, but the chances of that happening are low enough that it's really not worth worrying about. We're just going to stay mostly clear skies and 91 degrees for this afternoon. Returning to the 90s, we had a nice 3-day break from the heat. Now it's time to get back to summertime. It is almost July, and we're about to start feeling like it out there by the end of this week. 91 degrees, though, not terrible, but that wind is also going to be very light at just 8 to 13 miles per hour, so there won't be a whole lot of cooling effect from that wind. So you will want to, even though we aren't going to be in the upper 90s, you still want to remember those heat safety precautions outside today. A little disturbance in the Gulf of Mexico now has a 40% chance of developing into a tropical system, and even though it will be quite weak, it still could have some impacts on our weather elsewhere in the Atlantic. Potential tropical cyclone 2 still has not officially developed to the point that it would get named, but if this does get named, it will be Bonnie, and that's going to be heading towards the coast of Nicaragua over the next few days. By the end of the week, it could even transit through Central America and make its way out into the Pacific Ocean. Now, we don't see that all that often, so very interesting things happening down there in the tropics, and we still have a whole lot of hurricane season left to go. That usually peaks in September. Now, that low pressure center in the Gulf probably won't be developing into anything super significant, but what it will do is kind of act like a thorn in the side of the big upper level ridge. That kind of keeps it from strengthening too much over the weekend. That ridge will be walking back towards the east, setting up and strengthening once that low pressure center goes away. And with the ridge to our east, we will potentially bring a little bit more rain potential from the monsoon moisture flow out there by this weekend and into your Independence Day holiday. We might see a few isolated thunderstorms, but for the most part going to be keeping it dry. 94 degrees expected for Monday on Independence Day. I don't think we'll have any major issues with fireworks celebrations, but Sunday looks like we could see a few more scattered thunderstorms in the forecast. Thankfully, that will be helping to hold our temperatures fairly close to normal in the lower to middle 90s. And then next week, looks like we'll be cranking the heat up once again by Tuesday.